Hey, hey. All right. So, Geminis, let's get into this. All right. So, Gems, we are going to go ahead and do a slightly different story where each different card is going to be a different message just because this background has very distinctly different, kind of non cohesive designs in it. So, I'm not trying to tell a linear story this time. We have the Lovers card. Oh, and by the way, if you guys wonder, I've been down sick for on and off, real sick for about 2.5 weeks. And so my voice has to be softer. I've had lots of really weird complaints lately. But hey, that's okay. If my voice is just bugging you because it's softer, that's okay. There's other channels out there. But yeah, that's why, because I have a lung issue and a severe asthmatic issue. And so anyway, so I have to moderate my voice. It makes it a lot easier for me to talk and a lot easier for me to stop coughing. So there you have it. So we have Gemini starting this one out, which is nice. It's strong. It's a powerful card. Um, it's about love, and I would stick with that message. We have the energy of lovers who have been tempted by each other for sure. And when it comes to love, I almost feel like this Gemini, because we have a hummingbird flying up overhead and their wings move in this figure eight rhythm, like the infinity symbol. I have to say, this Gemini has a particular romantic partner that they have found in every lifetime. I feel like it's someone they'll always be tempted by, someone they'll always find again in every lifetime. So I'm going to go ahead and say for this story, this character is possibly aware that they have had a connection with someone repetitiously, or they have deja vu moments. And it's like over and over again, they feel drawn to someone, and maybe it doesn't always work out. Maybe there have been reasons that these two shouldn't be together, kind of taboo scenarios, and yet they're always drawn to this person. There's always this hunger for one another. And so with the Lovers card, I'll read the stories however they come out, good, bad, or ugly, okay? But I am a fictional storyteller. But I have to say, the first message out could be that Gemini knows that, the person that they're feeling emotions for is in a different commitment, and so is Gemini, and yet there's a really strong connection between these two. We have the Seven of Discs, and I'm going to read these two cards together because they did come out together. Now, that came out in the reverse, but I'm just going to show it upright to show that it's like a kind of like a picnic, right? We've got some like sausages, and we've got breadsticks, and we've got these, slices of apple and some like tart or something, and it just comes across like it doesn't really matter what else is going on in life. There's always going to be a hunger between these two. It doesn't really matter how great life is in other situations or with other relationships. There is something special about this bond. And I think that simply exists no matter what. I don't know for sure if this Gemini is with this person at the moment, but it looks like they're going to be. And that, the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse like that says it's going to happen very soon because they're hungry. Both characters are hungry. And I think that they're always hungry unless they're being satisfied by one another. So this is, by the way, the only zodiac, and I only have one more zodiac to do with this backdrop in this context. It's the only zodiac who's gotten something like that. Most of the zodiacs didn't really have a lot of romantic messages. This one is like very heavily focused on that. And we have the Fool. I have to say, as much as this Gemini is willing to just, go out and explore in this lifetime, and they're changing every lifetime. I think this Gemini is one who is willing to be here to learn. They're willing to do the uncomfortable thing. They're willing to step out of their comfort zone, travel about, learn different things. Hi, Shavika. Good to see you, honey. But I feel like this Gemini is very open to going out and learning different things, changing things up, changing career paths. But what's ironic is the one thing that doesn't change is there is someone, some important connection to them that always comes back around every lifetime. Other aspects of their life, they're willing to go out and do whatever. They're willing to do whatever they need to in life, but not when it comes to this one romantic person. This could be a Gemini who travels quite a bit. It could be somebody who travels with their pet. Somebody who's also a good gardener, or they could go to botanical gardens or something. They could be very interested in the cosmos also. I feel like this is an interesting Gemini. Like they may have gone backpacking through unique places. You know, if we read their autobiography, I feel like this Gemini would have a really interesting one. We have a Four of Pentacles. Somebody spent time in Germany during Oktoberfest. We've got beer and bread. Four of Pentacles can be about holding on, holding back. It can be the hoarder's card, but this is actually more about bounty. This is about maybe holding on to memories of things that have been really wonderful in our character's life. This could be a Gemini who's done an awful lot of exploration, but they hold onto those memories near and dear to their heart. Now, somebody could be an artisan bread baker, or, craftsman beer maker, or somebody who's, worked in some really fine restaurants and, bars around the world. They could be quite a foodie, and that could be a big part of their life, where they're thinking about writing a cookbook, or thinking about having like a blog, maybe a travel eating blog or something. We have a 10 of Wands also. I feel like this Gemini is a bit of a conundrum, and maybe it's just because they're a Gemini, so there's two halves to them, right? But for all this continued passion for a particular person, whether it's taboo or not, this Gemini says, I don't like all that romancy stuff. I don't like all that candlelight this and, uber romantic that. I don't really believe in that stuff. But it's ironic because this says there is some powerful draw between Gemini and another person, but they're almost standing over here saying, I don't believe that romance pulls people together like that. But they're like living proof that that does happen, specifically for this duo. So it's interesting to me to see this character. It could even be somebody who says, I don't care about all the fine dining and fine romance stuff. I'd rather be more earthy, be outdoors. We got all these pine cones. Now, this could go along with if they want to make some kind of like rustic cookbook or something about like basic food instead of really high-end expensive food. Okay, that could make sense. But it feels like they want to take the romance out of stuff, which I think is interesting because it almost feels like this Gemini is saying that they've been a little disillusioned and they only want things of real substance, things they can really count on, which I can understand. But it's just interesting because it comes across like they are having this very incredibly romantic pull. So I think it's interesting that they're saying, oh no, when they're like living it, right? We have the Girl of Discs. So this would be like our Page of Pentacles. Again, with the memory, you notice that we have the Elephant. I feel like this Gemini had a really cool childhood. A childhood that could have been filled with like artistic endeavors, or parents that were artistic or unique, kind of maybe gave Gemini some real opportunity to express themselves. They may have spent plenty of time, outdoors playing, being around nature, copying things from nature. Gemini could have had a strong influence from a parental figure or grandparent figure that was from a specific culture, and they have really beautiful, bright memories and remembrances of the time that they shared doing specific things that could have been very cultural with a family member. That's a big part of who they are. It's a beautiful part of this character. We also have the Page of Wands, or Girl of Wands in this case. I always look at this almost like I know it looks like a wedding dress, but I feel like either that was a major topic, like when, or somebody did pageantry, or somebody was, they talked a lot about, one day when you get married. I feel like that was a conversation that was talked about a lot in really happy, joyful terms when our character was like a young person. But I feel like over the years, that idea might have transformed. And now, if anything, this Gemini could be like, oh, I love to be like I could host parties, or I could put on those huge events. I could be a wedding planner. But for myself, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's happening for me, but I could totally see that this Gemini almost keeps saying, yeah, but certain things aren't going to happen for me. And I think that that's not true. I think that this Gemini has an incredibly passionate love story that's about to like kind of shake whatever callous foundations this character has. And we have a Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords can be worries and fears. I think this almost looks to me like Gemini's like, and I worry and fear only that somebody from my past is coming back. If there's one thing I did not need, it was the past returning. That's the only thing that freaks me out. Is, oh, please, universe, don't bring in the past. Well, I gotta say, I don't know that the universe is going to hear that that plea, because we see this flock of birds coming in. Birds are migratory; they come back. Now, it could be that sometimes I also look at this card as like, maybe, by the way, I almost said Capricorn, but maybe Gemini needs to go ahead and communicate with other people, other friends, people from their past, in order to get some perspective. Talk to our flock, talk to the people we fly with, ask them questions like, hey, what do you think about this or that? Especially if our Gemini has any energy to them right now where it's a little bit stressed out, or a little bit worried, or a little bit disillusioned, it might be a good time to turn to the support of others in our community, whether that's friends or whether that's family members. But it looks like this Gemini has a strong support network after all. Ideas off of, I think, the strong friend group. Now we also have a King of Swords. We have an Ace of Cups. Gemini, does this bring us right back full circle to the very beginning of this story then? Is that what's going on? We have some kind of, this would be a great match for a Gemini, right? A King of Swords. Now this could be how Gemini sees themselves: logical, great facial hair, dark-haired, handsome, you name it. Or this could be the match for our Gemini, somebody who is honest and straightforward and ready to offer their cup of love, ready to be logical and truthful, but also emotionally available. This is what's on the horizon for Gemini. Instead of something that is taboo and can never seem to come together, we have something that is coming together, and it's very straightforward. I feel like this is all part of the same story, even though it really has felt like, even though I didn't intend to tell a linear story, I feel like the same message came out. We have a Gemini who's kind of changed their perspective on a few things, given up a little bit on a certain romantic ideas, turn their attention a little bit more to things that are more tangible. Why pine for a taboo relationship that hasn't come into fruition? Why not spend my time doing things that really do matter? Why do these fluffy, romanticized ideas? Instead, I'd like to do things that are more grounded in reality. I want to go ahead and go back to my gifts, my skills, my talents. Maybe I'll start a business. I'll make wedding cakes. I'll do things that will make me money, but it probably won't be for my wedding. And yet, it comes full circle, and it turns out maybe it's a good thing for this Gemini to get their mindset on all that stuff, because I think they're going to be figuring out their own wedding cake pretty soon. This feels like there's a strong romance coming back into play for this particular Gemini. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you guys so much. Really good to see all of you. Hey, Rebecca. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye.